Aaron? Where is Aaron right now?
Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to the channel. I got a short one today because I have a 3-hour video I have to get to editing. In today's video, we have some more astonishing content regarding a gentleman named Dan OConnor, a very senior level Scientologist in Kansas City. This is a Facebook post that Dan OConnor made. The post itself is 5 years old, but just in the last couple of weeks, he added a comment to the post giving an update. Let me just share this with you. This is leaked from the Scientologist Facebook page. Dan OConnor writes, I have an OT win that just happened. I am putting $376,000 on credit cards this week to finish Amanda and my new civilization builder for our Kansas City org that is about to start Ideal Org construction. So let me break this paragraph down real quick. When he says the term Ideal Org construction, so there's currently a program in Scientology where every existing Scientology organization is supposed to purchase and renovate a massive new building, usually 50,000 square feet or above. And these new buildings are called the Ideal Orgs. These are not in fact new Scientology organizations. They're just new buildings for existing Scientology organizations. It takes a massive amount of fundraising to get enough money to buy and renovate these new buildings. So Scientology comes up with these statuses that they will award you based on the amount of money that you donate. New Civilization Builder is the status for having donated $1 million specifically to the building project. So when we read this paragraph again, it probably is going to make more sense. I'm putting $376,000 on credit cards this week to finish our New Civilization Builder for our Kansas City org that is about to start Ideal Org construction. I've set a firm goal that all of this is to be at 0% interest for 9 months or more. So when he says in the first sentence, I have an OT win that just happened, OT is what Scientologists call this advanced spiritual state that they believe you attain the more Scientology auditing that you get, the higher you go up Scientology's so-called bridge to total freedom. Scientologists believe that you become more and more OT. OT means operating Thetan. Thetan is what they call all of us as spiritual beings. We're all Thetans. And operating Thetan, it's like the closer you get to attaining your native godlike status that we all had billions and trillions of years ago. You know, the whole Scientology story is how we came to, you might say fall from grace, but Scientology doesn't believe in grace. How we came to go from being gods, like all literally gods, to being these relatively weak beings trapped in physical bodies and trapped here on planet Earth. The story of how that happened and the proposed solution for how to get back to native state is the story of Scientology. That's what Scientologists believe. So Scientology's goal is to go OT, to get back to full operating Thetan. As Scientologists go up the bridge, they believe they get more and more of these godlike powers. And the way that's manifested is in thinking about something that you want to have happen, and it just happens. So thinking of something that you want to have happen, Scientologists call that making a postulate. And when your postulates come true, they think that is evidence of having OT powers. So Dan is giving us an OT win. This whole story is an example of having OT powers. And it starts out with him wanting to put $376,000 onto credit cards. Okay, so let's keep reading Dan's story. Last week I got approved for a card at $22,500. I called into this card just now and asked about a credit limit increase. They said it was declined. I thought to myself, that's unacceptable. A moment didn't even pass. I said nothing. And the fellow popped up with, oh, wait a second. It now shows as approved for $50,000 at 0 interest for a year. Several more of those and I'll be done. So Dan's OT powers is how to successfully go into $376,000 of credit card debt in a single week. So Dan posted a follow-up comment to this post just in the last week or two. He goes, I just had this pop up. I wanted you all to know. I no longer have any of this credit card debt. I honored it all, increased my income as a result, have had an Ideal Org open in Kansas City throughout the pandemic as a result, and now moving on from that to train 100 auditors. Make yourself expand. Take risks. It works. Now, when I saw this post, I was really struck by what it means for Scientology, that what you have here is one of the most senior Scientologists, if I'm being frank, in the entire United States. Not only saying that he personally put $376,000 onto credit cards just to turn it over to Scientology, but he followed it up by encouraging other Scientologists to follow his example, follow in his footsteps, and do similar things. He says, take risks. But Dan's example of what it means to take risks and what he's saying resulted in his own increased income, expanding of his org, expanding of Scientology, is to take out, to massively over-leverage oneself with unsecured credit card debt. And by the way, we haven't even taken into consideration what type of fraudulent information had to be submitted on these credit card applications to be able to take out $376,000 of cards, to be able to open up and max out $376,000 of cards. You cannot tell me that doing something like that did not involve fraud. Now, a post like this has even more significance than might be apparent at first glance, because Scientology was engaged from 2014 to 2019 in a massive organization-wide, worldwide credit card fraud and bank debt scheme that, if you ask me, puts Scientology at a hell of a lot more risk than any of their trafficking policies and procedures puts them at. The kind of fraud that Scientology perpetuated, and for which physical and documented evidence exists for a multi-year period, is the kind of thing that I can say, without being an expert on this subject, is the kind of thing that seriously jeopardizes Scientology's tax-exempt status. Chase Bank actually sent Scientology a letter in 2019 saying that Chase was completely cutting Scientology off from Chase's worldwide network. And if the stories are to be believed, Scientology even took a meeting with Chase Bank. Some people say it was Miscavige himself. I question whether Miscavige would really do that. But Scientology representatives took a meeting with Chase Bank and basically said, please don't prosecute us, please don't follow, we will make this right. We found out who was doing all the bad things, we've gotten rid of all of them, we're reforming, but please let us fix this, we'll make this right. And Chase, again, if the stories are to be believed, basically said, okay, fine, we won't pursue this, we're still not letting you use the Chase network, but go ahead and make this right. Now, my belief is that when the authorities start following this up, it really doesn't matter if Scientology agreed to make it right or pretended to have found who committed all the fraud. This was a systemic fraud that occurred worldwide throughout the entire organization. And even the fact that something could go on for that many years and not be known by the people at the top, that brings up a whole other host of questions and issues. So all of that is what was going through my mind when someone sent me this post, where you have Dan. Dan's not just some random Scientologist. Dan O'Connor really is someone who's very well known throughout the entire Scientology world. He is what you would call an opinion leader. He is putting up this post in the main Scientology group that exists on Facebook for all Scientologists in the entire world. And if any of you are wondering, how in the hell does a Scientology staff member pay off, $376,000 of credit card debt over 5 years? Well, Dan O'Connor's stepfather owns a very successful headhunting company in Kansas City. And Dan O'Connor, despite being a full-time Scientology staff member, also moonlights by now running the company his stepfather has had for a very long time. So Dan O'Connor does make a lot of money, not just off of his company, but also off of exploiting Scientology children. I mentioned trafficking for labor. That is absolutely occurring. I have much more content to publish about that, specifically as it relates to Dan O'Connor. I just don't want to shoehorn it into this video. When the Scientology executives get pulled in front of a grand jury or get pulled in and questioned about this, how in the hell are they going to be able to claim that they had no idea any of this was going on? When one of the most high-profile, well-known Scientologists in the entire United States is making posts about it in the biggest Scientology group that exists on Facebook. And by the way, this Facebook group is monitored by Scientology management. I know, because this group still existed when I was still in Scientology and I was a part of this group. This Facebook group is considered to be a Scientology mailing list. The way L. Ron Hubbard defined what a Scientology mailing list is in Scientology policy makes this group a Scientology mailing list. And as such, any use of this Facebook group that violates the policies LRH created on how Scientology mailing lists are to be used are cracked down on heavily by management. I know for a fact that Scientology management monitors this group, so they can't claim ignorance when the group is promoting predatory and fraudulent credit card behavior. Let that sink in. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Much more to come on Dan O'Connor in future videos. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have ads or not. So